so we got 135, 418 minus that. Carry the 1. Well, I spent $4 on my STI so far. What's up, Subi friends? Welcome back to the channel. So I am super excited about these next coming up videos. Yeah, let's just get started. So in these 4-part series, we're gonna go through every mod that I have done to this car so far. Super excited, and you can tell. First, we're gonna start with the exterior. Then we're gonna do the interior and drivetrain. And then we're going to move on to the engine. So over the years, I have developed a spreadsheet of every list, mod, part number, cost, if I made a video about it, all in one giant spreadsheet, as well as my maintenance history, because, well, I do all my own maintenance. And because there was quite a bit of mods, and I am pretty bad remembering numbers, I'm going to list the cost of everything right here on the screen, or maybe over on this side. And of course, I'm going to give you a price breakdown of all the modifications, and at the end, I'll give you a total of, well, how much we spent. Also, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, let's just get right to it. All right, so first up we have is the OEM Subaru STI diffuser. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the car. Now originally I had bought the OLM half carbon diffuser, which is a super nice diffuser, very nice piece. But I thought that wasn't really the direction I wanted to go, so I decided to return that one and I bought this one. It's super minimal, nice and clean, and it has this little tiny STI symbol on the bottom. Nice. Seriously, love this one. Next up we have what might be one of the first mods I ever did to the car, and that is the OLM 4th F1 style brake light, but I just call it the OLM 4th brake light. It's pretty cool. It flashes when you hit the brakes, and that way the people behind you might not run into the back of you. Really like it, very easy to install. Came with the wire harness and all the bracketry. It took about 20 minutes to install. Maybe longer, because I had to take off the bumper. But after you got the bumper off, it took about 20 minutes to install. Now, for our license plate, I mean, not much here, but we did go with the OEM Subaru STI license plate frame. And to kick it off, just to add a little bit of touch to it, I added some Titanium Works hardware. Gives it that little extra, that's a pop sound, by the way. I don't know why I did that. Okay, you may or may not already know that this is the STI Limited. All right, there it is. It is the 2019 WRX STI Limited. And this one happened to come with the lip spoiler. And what I did is I removed the lip spoiler, but Subaru and their geniusness decided to put holes where the lip spoiler drills into the trunk. Here, 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 and here. And I couldn't have that. So what we did, we got the OLM paint matched trunk hole delete. That way it covered up all the holes, and the paint match on there is actually really nice. It's held on with 3M tape, and so far I have not had a single issue with it. Not with the water, not with it peeling, leaks, zero problems. And when I got it, I was actually worried about the paint matching, but really, it looks good. So we added the Noble OE STI style rear wing, and the paint match on this one is just as good as this trunk hole delete. It looks great. It is a fantastic paint match. Now when I did this mod, I kind of wish I made a video about it, but unfortunately I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was just too camera shy and I was just starting out at the time, but I didn't make a video on it and I wish I did. However, I did take some pictures of it while I was doing it. That kind of counts, right? I know, not really. Now real quick, finishing up the back, we have our diamond black tips on our AW exhaust. Now we're gonna talk more about that in the next video. Now when I got this car, it was bone stock, which was exactly what I was looking for. But it didn't come with a lot of stuff that I'm seeing most Subarus came with. Say like the rear vortex. I had to buy that separately, which was no big deal. I'm happy that I got it. But right here at the top, yep, what we have is the OEM Subaru vortex generator. I don't know if it actually works, but it's there and it looks really good. Next up, it's right down here. Okay, now this was one of the very first mods that I did, as long as the rear spoiler. These side skirts are the OEM Subaru side skirts. They're cool because I also have that matching STI at the end of it. Now these go on so simple. Once you take these off, they already have the holes marked in it, so where you drill the holes for these. Plus they come with all the riv nuts. Very easy to install. Super happy with those, haven't had not one single issue with them. The only other side skirts that I did like, that I didn't know about when I got these, were the charge speed ones. Those are super nice because they have the carbon fiber insert at the front. So between these and the charge speed, those two are my favorites. Okay, let's keep going. Real quick, we want to touch on our wheels, which are the Work ZR10s wrapped in Michelin tires, but I'll go into a lot more detail in the next video. So these right here are the OLM OE style rain guards, which is interesting because I don't even know if Subaru makes OEM rain guards. They might, I never looked into it. But these are just held on with some 3M tape. The cool thing about it is you could crack your windows, it's hot summer days, and you won't notice that the windows are cracked, which I think is a good stealthy look. Also, if it does rain, you can crack your windows and, well, the rain just doesn't get in.
Say crack again.
Crack.
Little mods like this just kind of make me happy. They're very inexpensive and they're easy to install. Okay, now I know they're not on here at the moment. We do have Subaru fixed roof rack crossbar. Now because there's no PPF on the top, I went with the OEM style because I didn't want to have anything going across here and, well, potentially scratching the paint. Therefore, we went with the OEM. And what do we use those for? Well, our surfboards, of course. Now starting from the bottom, we got the Subaru OEM STI lip, which is one of those choices that I'm super happy that I made. Originally, I did order the carbon fiber lip, just like I ordered a lot more carbon fiber in the back, but instead, I wanted to go OEM Plus, and I stuck with this one. This one, just like the side skirts, very, very easy to install. They come with all the good hardware, like the wheel nuts, the screws, and all you have to do is take off the bumper, find the X's underneath of the bumper, and drill into those lined up perfectly. Well, it's OEM, so of course it should. And yes, of course, we got our front license plate, because if you're in California and you don't have your front license plate, that is a really easy excuse for you to get pulled over. So we got our front license plate with the rubber mat around the frame. To top it off is some more titanium hardware for that extra pop. I really like that contrasty look. It looks so good. Now you can't see it because it's underneath of the car, but under the car we are running the TBW under tray, as well as some Titanium Works hardware to make it look extra good. That tray is such a big improvement over the factory plastic thing. The plastic one, well, it's plastic. It has too many pop clips and too many bolts, and it's a pain in the butt to change your oil. The TBW under tray has two sections that you can unscrew easily, which is one for the oil filter, and the other is to change the oil. I'll show you that more in another video though. Also, the under tray is aluminum, which means it'll dissipate heat a lot easier. It also has vents so that all the heat will go out of the engine a lot easier than a stock one. That under tray, very inexpensive, comes in a bunch of different colors, and I definitely, absolutely recommend it. All right, on to the front, which one of my favorite improvements is this grill. This is the grill by Noble. It's the CS carbon fiber grill, and it cleaned up the front end perfectly. This factory grill had way too much going on, and I never did like it. But this just made it clean and simple, exactly what we were going for. Behind the grill is a Noble cross brace. That, well, it's basically for looks, but it looks really, really good. So this last part on the list is probably one of my favorites. It is the JDM OEM Subaru bezels. I seriously love how this cleaned up the front end so much. Now originally, the Subaru came with these flat blank covers that just looked so ugly, and they didn't quite match the rest of the car. They're like a weird flat color thing with a fake little vent right here. But now we got these super cool JDM bezels with DRLs. One thing about these is, even though they are OEM, the fitment is not quite the best. I mean, I tried it for so long trying to get this corner to fit, but you know what? I gave up because, I mean, it looks good and you only notice it if you're looking very, very close. Not only are these daytime running lights, or DRLs, whatever you want to call it, they also are turn signals. Not only are they turn signals, but they work as a hazard lights. Super cool. Also, when you got these, we had to buy the plug and play, that's what they call it, harness, which plugged into the back of the lights, and it was super simple to do. Yeah, my excitement level just went down 10 points. You can not only have these in regular mode, or you can have these in sequential mode. Sequential on the other side. Which I think is pretty cool. And like I said, it cleaned up the front end of this car so well. So, you know what? Let's check out how much this whole thing costs so far, just on the cosmetics. So I know there's a lot of different ways that you can modify your car. I mean, it's a Subaru. You can basically modify pretty much everything on this car. Aftermarket support for it is just, you know, almost the sky is the limit kind of thing. But like I was saying, this is the way that I decided to do it. I know you can do it many different ways. This is just my style. That's why they call it customizing your own car. I really like how this turned out. So stay tuned for the next video, because I will be discussing every mod that we did onto the interior of this car. And that is gonna be a good one, because it's my favorite. I've been upgrading my STI's interior more than I've ever planned, and it wasn't cheap. Now in this video, I'm going to break down every interior mod that I've done. Was it worth it? Was it not? And how much it all cost. Alright, CB friends, let's say we go for a drive. What's up, CB friends? Welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that the audio is good and that you can hear me. Well, because I got the sunroof open and I got a mic on the exhaust. And you know what? It feels so good just being out driving this car. And seriously, I could just do this all day. Got the sun shining, got the sunroof open. And this is one of the main reasons why I wanted the limited edition. It had to have the sunroof. Even though this wind is kind of gnarly right now. But hey, this will be a great test for these DJI microphones. Which, by the way, I really enjoy. So, if you have not already watched my last video about every exterior mod that we've done to this car, you should go check that out. This next video is every mod that we did on the interior, which makes this car so much fun to drive. Alright, Subi friends, what do you say we head back to the house and we go through all the mods that we did to the interior of this car. Alright, Subi friends, we're back at the house. So the interior is probably one of my favorite parts because that's where all the time is spent in the car. You touch everything, you feel everything, you push some buttons, sit in traffic. It's just the best part. So one of my favorite mods is actually one of the first few mods that we did to this car, even before the 4th brake light mod. This mod is the Subaru OEM footwell lighting kit. And this thing is phenomenal. It is the most coolest and my favorite mod by far. You can only see it when you're driving at night because that's when it comes on, when the lights are turned on. It's OEM, so it comes with everything you need. Plug it up and plug it in. I just can't say enough about that. This is my #1 favorite mod. All right, now this is another mod that is just absolutely amazing, and that is the Stratos shift knob. So perfectly made and weighted, and the Alcantara on the sides just feels amazing. It's a cool black and silver stealthy kind of look to it, and I paired it with the racing reverse lockout column. And because we're right here, we got to talk about the Alcantara. This Alcantara is so much better than that cheap leather crap that Subaru put in this car. I can't tell you how much I hated it. So I went over to Subiflow's website and I ordered the Alcantara kit for the e-brake. So I ordered for the e-brake as well as the shift boot. Gee, what a difference. The stitching on this, it matches perfectly with the OEM stitching. And I'll tell you, once you start getting into the Alcantara feeling, you just want to change everything up. Probably going to get these done in Alcantara, but by a different company. And I want to do as much as possible around the car done in Alcantara. It just feels so much better than the leather that they have in here. And it looks good too. So the previous guy who had this car, I'm pretty sure was a big dude because this was pretty worn out. And you know what? Yeah, I had to get it replaced. So I hopped onto Subispeed's website and I ordered the JDM Alcantara armrest, and man, it feels so good. It even came with the foam padding. Kind of was a pain in the butt to put on, but it was all worth it. When we were putting it on, I was a little bit worried when we did it, but I got some help from one of you guys and told me what to do. And you know what? It came out really, really good. Now this dongle here turns your CarPlay into wireless CarPlay, which is so convenient because you no longer have to plug in a cable for your Apple CarPlay. The only downside is that your Apple CarPlay always connects, and at times you really don't want it to. But the good part is it always connects and it works super well. Never ever disconnects when you don't want it to. You just get in the car, your Apple CarPlay just connects automatically. Another really cool mod that I like is the gauges. One mod that I hate is this beeping sound. So these are the VLS OLED gauges, and they look super crispy and fantastic at nighttime. When you're driving and you have the little red lights on from your footwell as well as your gauges going, and you're just in that vibe, it's just unbeatable combination. So I'll probably go into a little bit more detail in these on our drive video. These gauges are super cool. Right now I'm just running the oil pressure as well as the wideband. They just look so good at night, and they sit inside of the cubby pod that I picked up from IAG. If you're thinking about doing this, I highly recommend you get this now because these cubby pods are getting harder and harder to find. Now I know there's a whole lot of different kind of gauges that you can get, but the main reason I wanted these was because they were OLED and they look really, really good. I think eventually I'm going to do another one which is going to have the oil temperature, because right now just oil pressure and oil temp, I could go a little bit more. I'm just not quite sure of where exactly I would put it since you can only fit 2 here. But like I said, I'll go into a little bit more detail on the drive video. One thing about them being down here, compared to the ones that you can mount on the pillar or the gauge cluster, it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. One advantage means that you're always focused on the road. The disadvantage is it's down here and sometimes you might not notice something happens. All right, so follow me over to the driver's side. That wasn't smooth. Okay, if you ever want to do a change to the inside of your car, change your steering wheel. I would recommend that to anybody all day, every day. I went with the Subispeed Alcantara steering wheel and it feels so nice I mean, I remember when I was installing the steering wheel, I kept saying how nice it feels over the stock one. The stock one, the leather, it was cool, but it was way too slippery, and I did not like that at all. So I went with this Alcantara one, and I could have gone with so many other ones, like Alcantara and carbon fiber and leather. But instead, I really wanted Alcantara because I wanted it to be more like the Type RA. The Type RA steering wheel doesn't have this red center line right here, and I don't believe it has all the indentations, and it's a little bit thinner. Also, the Type RA steering wheel is about $600. This one is about $100 less, and I got the center line. It just looks and feels amazing. 100% recommend doing this if you want to do an interior mod. Now right here at the top we have our cob access port right above our ridiculously perfectly placed cracked windshield. But right below our perfectly angled crack is our access port. If you have a Subaru, then you most likely know about the access port, so we won't even go into detail about that. Now right below our access port we have our Mach V access port vent dock mount. That's a lot to say. What it is that we take out the vent that's right here and we mount our access port so that it's really easy to see and read. The only downside about this is that you can see it from the outside. Like if you're standing in front of the car and you know what it is, well, you know what it is. I like it up here versus having it down here where the gauges are. It's just easy to read, and sometimes when you're driving on the freeway or something, it's easy to look at the access port and see exactly if your car is going to blow up or not. Okay, here's something that I don't really see a lot of people upgrading, which are the pedals. Now these are the SRP pedals in grid black and silver. Now this is a mod that I recently did, and it is super cool to have. Pedals are very grippy, unlike the stock ones, and plus they look amazing. The gas pedal has this little indentation which makes it wider, that way you can reach your brake pedal when you're trying to heel toe, which I'm still trying to learn. Now behind our SRP racing pedals is the Veris Engineering throttle spacer. What that does is just brings your gas pedal a little bit closer to the brake pedal, so when you're driving, it's a lot easier to reach your pedals when you're trying to heel toe. Still trying to master it, haven't quite got it down, but I am getting better. I should also make a note that the footwell pedal, well, that's an extra add-on, and you have to buy that separately. Alright, you guys, if you've been around this channel for a long time, or for a short while, you'll know that this mod coming up is probably my top 3 favorite mods on this car. And yep, it's the seats. So now these are the Recaro Sportster GT seats in leather and what they call carbon fiber. And you know what? They look so good. They 100% complete the car, and I cannot tell you guys enough how this mod, hands down, my most favorite mod that I have done to this car so far. And yes, I know I might have said that a few times, but you know what? You can't beat these seats. They are so comfortable, they hold you in nicely, and damn, they look so good. And you know what? I can go on and on about how much I love these seats, but well, I think you guys get the point. They are amazing. Now, eventually, I do want to do the carbon backing seats. The only problem is they're $1,400 for the carbon back, but they look so good because the carbon back is a dry carbon and they look so good. All right, so now with these seats, you get the Recaro sliders. Now the seats and the sliders are bolted in with the Planta Technologies seat brackets. The only downside is you lose your factory heated seats, which I thought was really nice, but I never really used it anyways, so I don't miss it. Now one thing that I would probably do if I could change up anything on this, when I did the seats, I would probably not get these. I would get the absolute cheapest seats, and then I would just have them reupholstered, the middle with Alcantara and the sides with leather. It would be a lot less money, and I could get the red stitching to match the rest of the car. Okay, real quick, a few mods that you don't see. So for the floor mats, we got rubber Modification floor mats for the front seat and for the back seats, even though nobody sits in the back, but they came as a set. The floor mats are mainly for when we go to the beach. That way you stick our sandy, dirty feet or shoes on there and keeps the car clean. Same with the back. We bought the Subaru OEM rubber mat for the trunk. That way we just get through all our wetsuits and all our sandy whatever in the trunk, and it all stays on that rubber mat. When you get home, you just hose it off. And that beats getting out the vacuum cleaner. Alright, so my Subaru came with the most janky OEM shift knob on the planet. And I tried fixing it, but you know what? I'm pretty sure I just made it worse. So what we did is we ditched the OEM shift knob. And I went and I picked up a regular Subaru shift knob. It was pretty nice. It looked good while it lasted, but eventually I wanted to upgrade. That's why we got the Stratos Racing shift knob. And you know what? If you were to compare the Racing shift knob to this one, the Racing has a nicer weight to it, nice bigger firm grip, and the Alcantara on the sides just feel way better than this leather. All right, my Subi friends, I feel like this video was probably all over the place, but you know what? It was worth it. So this right here, or maybe on this side, is how much we spent on the interior of this car. Okay, I mean, how cool would it be? How cool would it look if you have some dry carbon backing seats? I mean, that would just be so badass. And one other thing that I want to do, which nobody will ever see, to the interior of this car, and I talked about it a few times, I want to replace the bolts to the doors, as well as I want to replace the seat bolts with some titanium bolts. Yeah, that would just look so good. So today, we're going to finally talk about driver's mods. And that's all the mods that we've done to make this car handle the way it does. We're going to talk wheel specs, we're going to talk suspension, everything that I could think of. But you know what? To do this properly, I want to get the car off of the ground so I can show you everything in a close-up kind of view. Yeah, I know, it's a lot extra, but hey, it's for you guys. All right, so wheel spec. That is probably the most asked question I get at all times. What is your wheel spec? What size are your wheels? What kind of wheels? Finally gonna answer that. All right, so wheels. These are the Work Emotion ZR10s, 18 by 9.5 plus 38 offset. And they're in the matte bronze. They are so cool. Now I knew I wanted to go with the bronze wheel look as soon as I saw Ben's car from Gears and Gasoline. That STI just looks so clean and I love that look, so I went with these. Nice. Now I know they're not TE37s and yeah, they're not even raised, but these were in the budget and I think they look really good. The bronze wheels look is definitely the look for me. Now for the tires, we went with the Michelin PS4s or Pilot Sport 4S's. That's the long version. We went to the tire size of 265, 35, 18. Now the most common sizes are the 255, but with the 265, they're a bit wider, and you know what? I wanted the meat. I wanted the fat, wide, as much tire as I can get. I haven't had any rubbing issues lately. I did at first. All right, so here's a better view of the tire where it's starting to rub against the car. These are very expensive tires, so you know, kind of don't want to replace them right away. But I did roll this fender on the other side just a little bit and it took care of it. The main issue was right about here when I was doing the rubbing, but I took care of that and it does it very, very so often. Mostly when I'm on the 405 freeway, and if you live in California, you probably know what that's like. But the 265 tire gives you that cool, perfect stance, and I love how it looks. Now, this is one thing that I love about running 265 tires, is look how wide these are. They are so big, so meaty. I don't think I'll ever go to a skinnier tire. Now, lastly, before I pull this wheel off, I want to say that I am running some really cool valve stems that I picked up from Subaru. These are OEM Subaru valve stem covers. I don't know, they're kind of cool because I have the STI at the end. And you know how much I love those little STI things. All right, so behind our super cool work wheels, we got these Project Kicks centric hub rings. These things you probably should use. I think they do actually make a difference. What these are, they just keep your rims, they just keep your wheels nice and centered when they're on here. That way you don't get any vibrations when they're just sitting on the lug nuts. And there's probably some more technical terms, but I'm not sure why. Just to point out, if you do decide to buy these, they only come in sets of 2s, and you actually do need a set of 4. So don't make that mistake like I did and order just one set, because you're gonna need all 4. I don't know why I thought they came in a 4-pack. I mean, logically, they should come in a 4-pack, but they only came in 2s. Now for stopping power, I'm running these super cool gyro disc or gyro disc, however you want to say it, 2-piece rotors. These things are so light, such a big difference than the stock rotors. These are slotted and not drilled. They provide better cooling, they're lighter, Another good point is that when you need to replace these, you only have to replace this part of the rotor and you can keep your hats. Such a cool look behind when the wheels are on. Holding on these cool gyro disc rotors are the titanium axle nuts from Titanium Works. Now these have an amazing pop of purple and it kind of matches our rotors. But I think these just look so good, like so nice. I mean, you can see their logo right there. They have this nice burnt titanium look, and I think this part, or this one little thing, was like the missing piece of my wheel setup. So over here we got the Brembo brake hardware that we got from Titanium Works. This setup is super cool. It has the STI logo engraved on the front of it. It's a small little touch that you might not notice unless you're looking closely, but that right there is one of my favorite things about the car. Eventually, I want to do the Brembo brake pens and the bleeder valve in titanium, but that's coming up in the future. Now, as far as the brake pads, we're running the Hawk ceramic pads. These provide a great bite, and there's very, very little brake dust. Now on to one of our newest mods that we recently did this year, actually, are our stainless steel brake lines. These are the Faction Fab stainless steel or steel braided brake lines. Now I thought I would not notice a difference between the brake lines, but you actually do. With the combination of the brake pads and the brake lines, this car stops so well. Now inside these brake lines, we're also running the Motul RBF 600 brake fluid. Now this combination with the brake fluid and the brake lines and the brake pads are fantastic. You don't have to worry about brake fade when you're running those canyons a little harder than you probably should be, or we're just having a fun day at the track. But either way, you know your car is going to stop, and that's just that much reassurance that you don't end up in a really bad situation.
I can't stop! Help!
Now as far as the lug nuts, I'm running the Project Kicks 16x4 locks in black. These are the R40 Iconics. Now these are 3-piece lug nuts, and I'm running them closed-ended, as in I'm running the caps that come with them on the inside. Therefore, no water gets in and causes any rust issues. Now sometimes these lug nuts are a pain in the butt because of that one locking lug, because you got to get the key out and do all of that. But besides that, they do look really good, and I'm super happy because they don't scratch the rims. As you can see here, the new ones have a bigger acorn shape here at the top, which means that they'll fit the inside of the wheels a little bit better than these. Also, as you can see, these started to wear the coating or the finish of the wheels off. But since this one has a little spinny thing right here, it'll hopefully prevent that from happening. It'll still happen, but it won't be as bad. We're running the Master Brace Cylinder by Perrin. What this does is helps your brake booster from flexing against the firewall and eventually cracking. This was a pretty simple install, and I think it's one that you should probably consider doing. Now, when it comes to suspension, I am running a Fortunato Generation 8 500 series coilovers. I'm running their 8K springs on all 4 corners, and it's a pretty comfortable ride. Now I have all coilover rebounds set to 8 clicks from soft. You know what? Like all coilovers, these are pretty easy to install. In my opinion, they're also one of the best coilovers that are on the market. Alright you guys, for this next mod, we gotta go underneath for the car, so follow me under the car real quick. Let's go. So right here what you're looking at are these Perrin front end links with the urethane bushings. I'm running the stock sway bar because the stock sway bar is actually pretty thick. From what I read, there's no need to upgrade that, so I left it alone. I just went with the Perrin end links. I think it's a pretty good combo. The new Perrin ones are just way more beefier and will hold up to a lot more torture. That's what we're going to put this car through. So these old ones, on the other hand, I mean, yeah. Now, while you're also under the car, you can't really see it, but we are running the Cartboy short shifter. And man, talk about the difference. You will definitely notice a difference when you get rid of that clumsy old squishy factory shifter and upgrade to the Cartboy short shifter. Then in addition to the Cartboy short shifter, we also upgraded the bushings. The factory bushings are old and worn out, and they're made out of rubber. The new bushings from Cartboy, they're made out of polyurethane and they'll last twice as long. Not only does this make a big difference when you're shifting, but it makes a really cool winding noises from the transmission when you're driving. Okay, so we covered the front of the car and we covered the middle of the car. Now, we're headed to the back. So let's see what makes the back of this car so interesting. Okay, real quick in the rear, we are running Titanium Works axle nut, Project Kicks hub rings, and we are running the Faction Fab rear brake lines. These are the stainless steel ones that we talked about that are in the front. In addition to that, we have our Hawk brake pads in the rear, and we have some cool Fortunato coilovers in the rear as well. And these are set up just like the front, 8 clicks from soft, and they feel amazing. All right, there's one mod that I did pretty early on, and that is the white line rear diff mount bushings. Those bushings are polyurethane. Your old bushings that are in there right now are old and rubber and probably all worn out, which causes the car to squat when you step on the gas. And you know what? If you replace those with those polyurethane diff bushings, you'll get a lot better launches and you'll feel that diff is a lot tighter. You will absolutely notice the difference. So I think if you decide to do like 1 or 2 mods, as far as driver's mods goes, I would say do the Cartboy short shifter and the polyurethane bushings, as well as these diff bushings. You will feel a pretty significant change. All right, when we installed our Fortunato coilovers, we also had to upgrade our control arms. So what we did is we installed these Super Pro lower control arm. All right, so what we have here are the Super Pro lower control arms. The reason I'm changing out the original ones is because they have this on it. It's where you can adjust your camber. But right away you could just see the difference. Way more meaty than this one. This one has a polyurethane bushings, which will last way longer. So this one has the adjustment so that you can adjust all your camber. This one does not. Another good upgrade I suggest would be upgrading your sway bar. I'm currently running Perrin's 25mm sway bar, as well as their polyurethane end links. And like I said, with this combo, it is a pretty noticeable difference, and that's one that I would definitely recommend. For some added support on the sway bar, I'm running White Line's rear brace stabilizer, which is the gray bar here. Alright, Subi friends, that covers the video of all the driver's mods that we've done to this car so far. But today, we're finally going to talk about all those cool engine mods that we did. Now, most of the mods we did on this car was reliability, but we also did a lot of performance mods, which are the fun mods. And at the end of the video, yep, I'm gonna give you a total of how much money we actually spent. And I'm kind of worried about that one. Well, no, not actually worried. I should be more excited. But either way, I'm gonna show you how much the grand total is. Hopefully I don't forget this time, like I had last time. All right, the first thing that we have on our list is our Get a Dom Tune Cylinder 4 mod, which is, well, can't really see it, but I'll put a clip right here. If you don't know where it's at, follow me, I'll show you. Under the car. Under the car, past the calipers, past the Fortunatos, past this thing. Here we got our axle. Go right on up here, right all the way up there, right up in there. And you can see that this here is the bolt that needs to come out. Basically what this does is it reroutes your coolant line to one of your cylinders, which is cylinder 4. Cylinder 4 is basically known to be the one that gives the most problems because it has the most heat next to it. Your unequal length headers have a big giant block of cast iron heat buildup right there next to the cylinder, which causes that cylinder right there to get the hottest, and that which causes very, very bad day type problems later on. So what I did was I installed this cylinder 4 mod. That way it keeps this area, or the cylinder 4, cooler than it normally would not if you didn't have it there. It's a great mod, and it's been suggested by a lot of people to do that one. So I did it, and it wasn't too hard. Alright guys, let's go! Oh, I got the coolant on me. So, let's move on. All right, now, another part that you can't see is underneath of here, and that is our TBW under tray. We are running the TBW under tray. as well as some titanium works hardware to make it look extra good. That tray is such a big improvement over the factory plastic thing. The plastic one, well, it's plastic. It has too many pop clips and too many bolts, and it's a pain in the butt to change your oil. The TBW under tray has two sections that you can unscrew easily, which is one for the oil filter, and the other is to change the oil. Also, the under tray is aluminum, which means it'll dissipate heat a lot easier. It also has vents so that all the heat will go out of the engine a lot easier than a stock one. That under tray, very inexpensive, comes in a bunch of different colors, and I definitely, absolutely recommend it. In addition to our TBW under tray, we're running the Flamoto oil drain plug. This drain plug replaces your original factory drain plug bolt with a drain plug that just has a simple valve that you open and you close by hand. Makes oil changes ridiculously easy, especially with the under tray, because you don't have to take off that big giant plastic under tray. Yeah, just makes life easier. Definitely a recommend. All right, now let's move to the top of the car, because I don't feel like being on the ground anymore. And I'm back on the ground again. Yeah, I don't even know why. But, okay, so one of the early on modifications or reliability modifications that we did, and it was actually most recommended by a lot of you guys, is to do the AOS. So what I did is I went and I purchased Cobb's AOS, or air and oil separator. Now the main reason I went with Cobb is because they are carb legal, which I'm going to mention that quite a bit in this build. Carb legal basically means that it's emissions legal, and you can have this modification done to your car legally. And a lot of these emission things are a big deal here in California, so I went ahead and went the easy route, but was also the more expensive route, because this one costs a little bit more than IAGs and other air oil separators. However, if I were to get pulled over for any of these mods, I could show them the carb sticker and it would be carb legal. Pretty cool, right? Now, basically, your AOS or air oil separator catches all the oily air from the engine, separates the oil from it, and then sends the clean air back into the intake. The clean oil drains back into the engine and helps keep the intake running a lot cleaner and running a lot better. Something else that you can't see, but right down here where your turbo is, I'm running the Cobb's turbo blanket. Now this blanket goes on the hot side of the turbo, and what it does is it keeps the heat of the turbo confined to that one spot, reducing heat soak. Since your turbo is right here next to the intercooler and right there in the engine and everything else, this just helps keeps the engine a little bit cooler. So I've heard good things and I've heard bad things about running a turbo blanket. First, I heard that it's a good thing because it keeps the heat onto the turbo, whereby it keeps your engine cooler. But then I also heard that it makes your turbo last not as long. I don't even know what to believe, but I got it, and you know what? I feel a lot better having it. However, I did buy a ridiculously overpriced one from Cobb. I mean, you could have got one from a different brand and it would have done the exact same thing, but that's the route I went, and it is what it is. All right, moving on over to this big gigantic thing in the middle of the engine. This right here is Mishimoto's top mount intercooler. Another thing that's also carb legal here in California. This one, because it came with the carb sticker. I think also one of these days I'm gonna peel off that sticker and just replace it on there so that it's level and even. Because it actually does bug me, even though I never see it. Now this Mishimoto top mount intercooler is not only big and heavy and a pain in the butt to get out of the car, but it does actually keep the car a little bit cooler than your factory intercooler. Where the factory intercooler is good, but this one is just a lot bigger, beefier, and it looks really cool. Now if you look right down underneath of there, attached to our top mount intercooler, I'm running Mishimoto's 2-inch 90-degree coupler. The Mishimoto 2-inch 90-degree coupler is made out of silicone, and it'll last a lot longer than your old factory one. Also, it makes the top mount intercooler a lot easier to put on when you're trying to get the hose connected to the turbo. And while we're talking couplers, I'm also wearing the Cobb throttle body coupler. Funny enough, this is carb legal too. I didn't think it was at first, but you know what? It came with the sticker, which was another thing that I thought was cool. You too, see how it looks. This is not made out of rubber. It's made out of what? Polystyrene? something your thing. I don't know. But basically, it'll last you forever. Plus you get a cool logo. First off, you absolutely do not need to replace your bypass valve. Your factory bypass valve is rated to hold up to 400 horsepower. So last year I ditched the old bypass valve and I went with this Cobb LV bypass valve. We don't want to forget, behind our big gigantic Mishimoto intercooler, I'm also running the Grim Speed pitch stop mount, which, you know what, I did cover in the previous video, but I'll talk about it briefly now. Your old pitch stop mount is super thin, tiny, and well, it's a joke. An aftermarket pitch stop mount will absolutely change how your car feels when you step on the throttle. It's a super easy mod to put on or to install, and is definitely one that a lot of people recommended to do, so I went ahead and did it. Didn't really quite feel the difference or notice the difference, but I guess I'm just special. I don't know. Now in front of our top mount is this ridiculously beautiful Cobb alternator cover. I seriously love how this thing looks. This small little piece just made the center of the engine bay look so much better than when I had that plastic one there. Now eventually I do plan on getting the fuse box cover. Well, as soon as I get like $200 that I just feel like spending on a very small something. But I do really love Cobb's red line products because all their weaves all go in the same direction. Which leads us to Cobb's red line carbon fiber intake. This right here, I believe, is just one amazing piece of work of art. You know what? It just looks amazing. Not only does it look amazing, but it sounds really cool. Not only does it sound really cool, your IATs are a lot lower than when you have the SF or when you have the factory one. But really, this right here will make your engine bay stand out versus a lot of other ones if you want to spend that extra. This mod, the reason I went with Cobb is because that it was carb legal. If you get pulled over, you can just say it's legal. And yes, it is absolutely stunning and beautiful to look at. However, cleaning the air filter is kind of a pain in the butt. Because yeah, you gotta take this whole thing apart to get to the air filter. But you know what? A fun Sunday, Saturday, weekend working on the car, no big deal. The old factory radiator was not the best radiator. So instead I went with Mishimoto's X-Line radiator. This is the Mishimoto's thicker radiator, so it holds a lot more coolant and it keeps the car a lot cooler on those hot summer days. And yes, I know there is many other companies that make radiators, but I went with this one. Then yeah, I could have went with CSF or Coilrad, but you know what? A radiator's a radiator. They all, as long as it keeps the car nice and cool, then you know I'm happy. Also, can't point out some of our titanium works here. Like I said, I'll go over later on. But we also have titanium works radiator stays. And these are stunning. Also, from our radiator, we're running Mishimoto top and bottom silicone hoses. These silicone hoses should probably last a lot longer than your car will. For sure, a lot longer than the old factory rubber hoses, which are known to crack and break over time because cars heat cycling. Now, paired up with our radiator is Cobb's overflow tank. This black overflow tank basically gets rid of the plastic overflow tank that's right here and just cleans up your engine bay a little bit and just adds a nice black stealth look to it that I really like. Doesn't do anything special, but does look really good. And if you ever wonder, where does your wiper fluid go? Well, it's this part right there. And in my opinion, this cleans up the engine bay so well with the rest of the Cobb products and our big fat radiator. All right, now right down here, you see that white line right there? That right there, I am running a remote oil pressure sending kit. And what that does is that is sending oil pressure to our gauges, which we're about to hop in the car and see. But right down here, there is an oil galley plug that you can just pop off and you can put this sending unit kit right here and it'll read your oil pressure. There's not only this one right here, but there's also one that's right underneath for their alternator, which a lot of people also use as well. Another really cool mod that I like is the gauges. One mod that I hate is this beeping sound. So these are the VLS OLED gauges, and they look super crispy and fantastic at nighttime. When you're driving and you have the little red lights on from the footwell as well as your gauges going, and you're just in that vibe, it's just unbeatable combination. These gauges are super cool. Right now I'm just running the oil pressure as well as the wideband. They just look so good at night, and they sit inside of the cubby pod that I picked up from IAG. If you're thinking about doing this, I highly recommend you get this now, because these cubby pods are getting harder and harder to find. Now I know there's a whole lot of different kind of gauges that you can get, but the main reason I wanted these was because they were OLED and they look really, really good. I think eventually I'm gonna do another one, which is gonna have the oil temperature, because right now, just oil pressure and oil temp, I could go a little bit more. I'm just not quite sure of where exactly I would put it, since you can only fit 2 here. One thing about them being down here, compared to the ones that you can mount on the pillar or the gauge cluster, it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. One advantage means that you're always focused on the road. The disadvantage is it's down here, and sometimes you might not notice something happens. All right, so follow me over to the driver's side. I'm also right here as I'm running the Cobb's access port, or the anxiety port. If you have a Subaru, then you most likely know about the access port, so we won't even go into detail about that. Right below our access port, we have our Mach V access port vent dock mount. That's a lot to say. What it is that we take out the vent that's right here, and we mount our access port so that it's really easy to see and read. The only downside about this is that you can see it from the outside. Like if you're standing in front of the car and you know what it is, well, you know what it is. I like it up here versus having it down here where the gauges are. It's just easy to read, and sometimes when you're driving on the freeway or something, it's easy to look at the access port and see exactly if your car is going to blow up or not. Okay, now on to one of my favorite mods, besides the intake. The intake is basically for us, for the passengers or the drivers, because it makes that cool intake noise. Now the exhaust, see, the exhaust is for the people driving in the car next to you and everybody else. So right now I am running AWE's Touring exhaust. This exhaust sounds so good, and thanks to AWE's 180 technology, there is zero droning, and it makes this crazy deep Subaru rumble that just sounds so good and so clean. Yeah, I like that clip there. I mean, it is just one of my favorite exhausts that I've heard on a Subaru ever. Eventually, I do want to get the track edition, but I have a feeling that might be too loud, and I don't want to go and buy it just to have it for a couple of months and then take it off and try and sell it again. So right now, the AWE turn exhaust is the one that I'm going to have for probably a very long time. I did have to pick up Grimspeed's 3-inch super thick boy gasket for the middle. So when I changed out the old exhaust, I upgraded that gasket as well. And just a little thing. Okay. All right, so coming back up to the engine bay, I want to talk about all the Titanium Works products, or all the Titanium Works hardware that I did for this car. Total of the Titanium Works hardware, well, I'm just going to put that right here because there is so many different pieces. I mean, I have the Titanium Works radiator stays, I have Titanium Works worm clamps, bypass valve hardware, and just bolts everywhere all over the car. And you know what? It looks so good, especially this whole row right there. Yeah, every time I pop the hood of the, I did say pop the hood. Every time I pop the hood and I look, I just think, wow, those look so good. One of the things I do want to upgrade on the engine, I want to get Cobb's Red Line fuse cover, the carbon fiber one. That's the one that they make. And you know what? As soon as they release them, if they ever do release them, hopefully they haven't forgot about us, they make those fender shrouds. I know they made them for the VB chassis, but us VA chassis, well, maybe they just left us behind. But I think that would tie in the look of the engine bay so good. But yeah, okay. All right, now a few other things that we did that probably don't really count, but I think that they should count. We swapped out those factory spark plugs for one-step colder spark plugs, which I kind of thought the car ran a little bit funny, so I took those out, went over to Cobb and purchased a whole new set of spark plugs. And yeah, I had to do that process all over again. Another thing that I probably should, maybe, I don't know, will count in, would be the timing belt hardware. Timing belt itself, we picked up from Company 23, and you know what? Yeah, I'm including that in the cost because it's just something that I did. It's the first time ever doing anything like that, and I'm pretty happy on how it turned out. You know what? I'm also going to include on that price the water pump. That's a pretty important part, so you know what? We're absolutely including that into the price. So with all of this being said, I think we pretty much covered everything that we have done to the engine. We've done a lot of reliability and a lot of performance. Well, some performance, mostly reliability. All right, so how much did we actually spend? Well, just on the engine mods we spent, yeah, I guess that is kind of a lot, but you know what? It was worth it. But if you add it all up together, engine mods, drivetrain, the interior, the exterior, all the mods that we did so far total to this car, well, that is, it's kind of a lot. Also, I really hope you guys enjoyed this series and you learned something from it, or got at least some kind of knowledge from it. I wanted to do this a little bit different than what I've seen on YouTube, where people just read stuff off the list and then say we did this, and yeah. But I wanted to show you guys, I wanted to explain why I did it, how I feel about it, if it works, if it didn't work, which, I don't know, I feel like most of everything we did worked. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, but hey, it's happening. But I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and seriously, thanks for sticking around. Stay tuned for some more STI content, and I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace out. But hey, you know what? I love this car. It was worth it, and I still got a lot more coming. So you know what? I hope you guys stick around because I got a lot more coming. I don't know what to say. I'm out of here. Yeah, so my neighbor's back. It's gonna be noisy. I came out here as soon as he left, and now he's back, and he's back to work. It's okay though. It's okay though. It's okay though.
The second part of this test involves you. If you have been correctly installed as part of your stereo system, you will now lift the record up, turn it over, and replace it on the turntable with side 2 on the top. You will then proceed to listen to all of side 2. If you do not do this, You have failed the test, and you have the worst hi-fi system in the world, no matter how much money you spent.